What? Dude, Instagram's not working.
The gram is down?
It's not letting me link for some reason.
Uh-oh, planes are going to fall from the sky.
Oh, no. The gram is down. What are we going to do? It's a good thing we're just podcasting today, and this isn't streaming live. So you guys will just never know.
That's true. That's a fact. I am trying to get people to subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Why should they subscribe to your YouTube channel?
Because we put a lot of time and effort into recording super dope fishing content. And I want people to see it. I want the world to see it.
It's a pretty good reason.
We got some epic shit on there, don't you think, Jordan?
I think so. We try pretty hard to make sure.
Well, that's why I'm here. What's up, everybody? It's your host, Oliver Knigge, Big Bass Dreams. And I am in the Pacific Northwest with my boys. We have been out in the elements. This beautiful Washingtonian and Oregonian southern or sunny weather. Or lack of.
Yeah.
I think I might have seen some slight radiation come from the sky.
Yeah, you gotta tell you,
on the way
don't
home.
have a burnt neck after leaving here.
No, just a really wet one. Anyway.
What do you think of our fish, though?
Your fish are pretty cool, man. But more, you know what's cooler than your fish? You two.
Thanks, dude.
And that's what brings us here. We are podcasting out of the workshop, or what do you call this place? This
Studio.
Is the studio. This is the Addicts studio.
Yeah.
This is where the magic off the water happens for these guys.
Kind of like a scene from Wayne's World most of the time.
It literally is.
It's been referenced that a few times. So,
Wayne's World. You just aged yourself, man.
Excellent.
Because I think some of the younger
dudes don't even know what that is.
What is Wayne's World?
Sean, do you know what Wayne's World is?
I've heard of it.
Oh, no!
We'll introduce you guys to Sean.
I thought you knew Sean.
In a moment, but
Actually, Sean doesn't exist anymore.
no. He's we're going the fourth wall. He's not there.
Boing splat.
So, anyways, reintroduction here to my boys. This is Marlin Lefever, and honestly, I don't know what Jordan's last name is.
It's Jordan Knigge.
Knigge. How could you forget it?
You know, I can't.
Not anymore.
Not anymore, man.
There you
Not
go.
anymore.
That one's free.
So, as I briefly introduced them before, these guys represent Addicts Fishing. And why don't you guys tell me a little bit more about Addicts?
Okay. So Addicted Fishing, basically what it is, I started about 10 years ago, and I've kept true to my goal, and what I started it as was to educate, entertain, and inspire. And so I had those three kind of pieces in there because for me, the education piece was the biggest because I felt like growing up trying to learn how to fish, like the stuff that I needed just wasn't there for me. The stuff that I wanted wasn't there. And so I felt like I needed to be able to bring that to people like me that didn't have the opportunity to learn how to fish. You know, there's a lot of kids coming up that don't have dads that know how to fish or don't want to fish or don't have dads, you know, or don't have moms or whatever it may be, you know. And so I feel like we kind of fulfill that role and try to help fulfill that role, you know. Okay. It's funny, there was a comment on our YouTube literally like 2 weeks ago, and the dude said, Jordan Knigge, the dad that us YouTubers never had.
Dang.
Yeah. And I just thought that was really cool because to me, that's what it's about. Okay. And the entertain portion is more what my passion is. You know, I enjoy making just sick fishing content to the point where I like study every single person that's making fishing content. I look at it. I mean, I'm texting Sean constantly, like, check out this video, look at this video, look what this guy did in this. And not just in fishing. I take it from especially surfers and skateboarders and snowboarders, I think, are doing some amazing things with film that fishermen can take notice.
Yeah.
And so,
let me interject real quick.
Sport.
While we're on that subject, why don't you explain your role, whoever Sean is, that nobody can see, and Jordan's role.
Okay, so I'm Marlin. I started Addicted, owner, operator, started it 10 years ago. Jordan is a fishing guide and now probably the second or third most important piece to Addicted when it comes to us creating content. I think he's going to be a major part of the brand in the future. He is the face of the brand, really. The hair.
He's the hair.
Yeah, and we all are kind of the face. I've kind of kept Addicted more as a family-oriented friendship style platform where there's 20, 30, 40 guys that are in our content always.
Christmas party is a big one. For sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Sean is really the mastermind behind Addicted, because he, I don't think our content would be the same without him at all. And, Sean, when he first started, he was green. He's probably learned a lot more from us than we ever even should have taught him.
That's for kids.
Have to tune into Addicted Fishing Unfiltered.
Unfiltered.
Is that ever going to happen?
No.
He has tons of blackmail on us. Sean's the untouchable one.
Yeah. But truly, Sean, he's the mastermind behind it.
Right.
The content is dope and the content is there, and he's probably working harder than any of us, to be honest.
Wow.
So
big shout out to Sean.
Big shout out to Sean.
Big Sean.
Big
That's
Sean.
what's up. And Jordan, so you are an angler, obviously.
Yep.
High-end guide. Therapist.
Exactly. Therapist.
How many other hats are you
Life
wearing?
coach. Teacher, instructor, babysitter. I can wear mini coats out on the river.
Yeah.
But no, I grew up in the Northwest here within just like an hour of. Actually, I have family that actually lives in the same town Marlin lives in. So I've spent all of my life growing up around here, and always loved fishing. My dad was a big angler. I was one of the fortunate people who had a dad who took him out fishing all the time, to where I almost didn't even want to play sports sometimes because I just wanted to make sure we could go fishing, and found a real strong love for it later on in life. Just going through the motions, working, really hard jobs and everything else, and I got down to one day and I just said, this is what I'm gonna do. Met some influential people throughout my life who kind of led me on the path of being a guide and falling into the industry and working really hard to just do things better. Offer people a really neat experience and teach them something. That's the real relatable thing I feel like on the river is, doesn't matter what walk of life you're from, how much money you've made, where you come from in the world, you always have some kind of similarities or something that you don't know or something that you can learn or teach somebody on the river. And then met Marlin probably 4 or 5 years ago now.
Dude, he comes up to me at the sportsman show. Like, I'd never met the guy. He comes up to me at the sportsman show, and you had long hair at the time, and he came up to me and gave me his card, and he's like, yeah, dude, love what you guys are doing, love your videos, love to, take you guys fishing or something sometime. And I'm like, oh, yeah, cool, and to be completely honest, I was kind of like, no. I mean, literally, that's kind of what I thought. And then I don't even know what happened. Like, I ended up just...
It was the river I told him I'd take him fishing on. He's like, they never floated it or anything like that. And
That's
they're like,
probably what
oh,
got me.
dude, we'll go, then we can go on Cam's raft. And
Yeah, I was
and
probably...
we just hit it off instantly on the river.
We became super good friends, like, right out of the gate.
That's
like,
cool,
it was a really good connection to make, for sure.
I can see why I've got to spend 3 days
I think
floating
3
with you now,
Yep.
Jordan. And you have a unique ability to really just bring that positive vibe out of people most of the time.
Why do you think I keep him around?
But it's a gift, man. It's cool. I've been around this game for a long time, and most fishing captains, guides, etc., a lot of them can be real crabby and just unpleasant to be around, man.
Cameron.
Big shout out to Killer Camo. But that's kind of like that old guard.
Yeah.
Right? And it's interesting watching like that more personal approach to giving someone an experience.
Yeah.
Versus putting them on fish just to
Yeah.
limit out on the tags and so.
It's like, this is going to sound cheesy, but it's like the Hawaiians say. They don't call it fishing, they call it holo holo. And that means to go hang out on the water. Because if you expect to catch fish, it's bad luck. You know what I mean? But
right.
and that's so. It's
And I do that all too much.
A real laid back vibe of how to approach fishing. It's a way of life and it's a way to feed yourself. But if you get too stressed out about it, Hakuna Matata basically. Like when people show up at my boat, my biggest goal usually is 1, to not be in a big hurry, and 2, it's a day of vacation.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily a day of fishing. The fish are just, thank goodness we know how to catch them really well.
My goodness.
But it's like
that's better than the other Hawaiian saying I've heard. She's not really your girl. You guys know where I'm going with this? It's just your return.
It's your
Island.
turn.
Cold but true.
Oh, God.
Anyways, but man, that first morning, right? We launched in the dark, and bro, like, you guys saw what I normally launch out of with the Dream Machine, right? I'm like, oh yeah, you just drive up to this nice paved launch ramp, back it in, float it off the trailer, like good, and it's pitch black.
It's more
Yeah.
like roll down a hill,
I'm
trip
like,
over a
Yeah,
root.
I'm about to bust my ass. For sure busting my ass on that rock slide. That looks muddy as hell. There's like wet leaves everywhere. I can't see anything. And then you guys are just like barreling down little, just like, yeah, hurry up, man. And it was just such a different experience for me.
Yeah.
And I literally didn't stop smiling from that moment till the end of the day. And really was beaming smiles, like, on my personal Instagram story. Like, I was just updating my close friends, like, man, you guys can't see this, but we're whitewater rafting in the dark right now. Like, this is crazy. And really that experience before we even made the first cast that already made my day.
Mhm.
Like, it was so dope.
It's
man.
funny
You
how
guys-
you say that, because I always, whenever I hit the water in the morning and we start floating away, I go, we made it, you know. My job's already done when I walk up to the river.
Yeah.
You know, that's kind of how I like to keep fishing, you know.
For sure, man. That's rad. Yeah, it's really special for me too, coming up here to experience this with you guys, because I was actually born in Tacoma, Washington.
Oh, word?
Yeah.
That's weird. I didn't know that. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
Most people don't. They think of me as being from LA.
And that's what's funny. When you told me last night that you used to be a savage using the trout tubes, I was thinking to myself, like, where the hell was he catching trout?
Bro, trout fishing in the wintertime is like, it was everything when I was growing up, because our lakes get cold enough to where there's put and take fisheries for
Okay.
trout. And all the lakes, all the little urban ponds, city park ponds,
I didn't know that.
that's actually gone away. Like, a lot of that's died, and hopefully now that we're people of influence, we can start pushing towards that again, because that was such a big part of me learning how to fish and staying fishing, especially during the winter months when warm water species really slow down.
Yeah.
And this is before I could really catch bass consistently. So rainbow trout were the name of the game, and it was like power bait fishing, inflated night crawler, or little spinner like we were fishing today, or a spoon, or the real revolution was the crappie jig. And all the dudes with the savvy and the high-tech rod, 8, 6, 7, 8-foot rods, and the 2-pound line, and the tournament SS Daiwas, like, dude, it was a thing, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So-
Out there flashing it.
Right. And it's cool to come up here and experience a lot of what I used to read about in my early fishing career as I researched fishing.
Mm-hmm.
Pacific Northwest, salmon, steelhead. And like, I'd never really been able to dive into it.
Yeah.
And to do it with like some of the best is,
Well,
something.
thanks, dude.
That's one thing with you and I talked about a bunch on the first day, driving around, about what makes us go real hard at fishing for the type of fish. I mean, there's so many fish in this world, so many different kinds that you could really focus your effort on. But why we're so stuck on what we do, you the trophy bass, me the 20-pound steelhead. That's like something that you strive for, and each one has its different quirks. And
For sure.
it's a different man's sport to go out there and enjoy the weather like that.
My goodness. Like, bro, we literally showed up today and went through a whole stretch of no rain, no mist, the whole drive up there. How far
You're
was
thinking,
that
oh, it's
today?
going to be
Like,
nice.
2 hours.
2 hours, and yesterday you were like, oh man, the weather's going to be beautiful tomorrow. We looked at the weather app. It's not going to roll until 3 o'clock, and I looked at it this morning. I'm like, we got till 11. We literally dropped the raft in, and here it comes.
This rain.
And it never stopped, and it was actual real rain today.
Oh, man.
Like, we were wet.
Oh, it was so
Welcome
perfect,
to the
though.
Northwest.
His dog was so wet. Like,
And we're releasing a fish that he gets on a twitching jig. He's like, we were going to bring in the boat just to look at it.
yeah, I just wanted to lift it or something, just a lift shot and get it back in the water.
And it kicks, I don't remember if
It
it
kicked
was
out of
him or
my
me,
hand.
if it was you or me. I think
I think it kicked out of my hand.
He did drop it. Okay. So he drops it and Little like bails out of the raft and like
Just
falls
went
and
for
starts,
it.
and we're on anchor, so he starts floating away.
Oh no!
Yeah, so we pull anchor really fast. And, oh, it was
Oh, that's freaking awesome.
But we got it all.
But you smoked a lot of fish today.
Dude, we had a blast. And it's interesting because as much fun as we had yesterday on the same stretch of river, once again, the puzzle changed. And we had to make adjustments. Like yesterday, that bobber was just constantly getting
draining.
Yeah, it was just dipping.
We were making hooks because I'm a terrible guy and I forgot my hooks. I was making hooks out of spinner hooks so I could keep fishing my bait.
It's well, the lack of resources often brings forth resourcefulness, right? And I think that's something that we learn as anglers, and hopefully people take into whatever aspect of their life they want to.
Yeah.
But today they ate the twitching jig, thankfully, and I didn't lose one. Got their whole box.
Nice.
For you.
Yeah, it was actually pretty sexy little operation.
Yeah, it was gnarly. But then today they wanted to die on the spinner, which was cool for me because I don't remember the last time I caught a fish on a spinner. It was probably a rainbow trout.
Right.
As a kid on a little rooster tail.
It's so fun hunting them with those two like that.
The way we were fishing them too was just like total Alaska style, standing up rowing. He's on the seat. Like I wouldn't even look downriver for like, I'd be like, oh crap, are we about to hit something? We were just like in
tunnel vision.
And I was just fluttering the spinner right along with the raft, like 90 degrees to the bank. So everyone, you'd see the spinner just take off of river.
That's the best.
Yeah.
We would have
That's a lot of fun.
A nice little collection of chrome keepers if Jordan would sharpen his hooks and keep them attached to the spinners.
We were literally like taking mustad hooks off of other spinners to keep them sharp.
Because he's been wrecking so many fish on those things.
That's just it.
Like the points have been just, and those things got hard mouths.
Yeah, they do.
So even after I'd catch a couple, I'd notice like, oh man, we need a hook file. So those are little adjustments that we had to make.
Yeah.
But anyways.
You need a file?
What are you doing? Mine got all rusty. You see the conditions we have to keep our tackle in.
Yeah.
Man, if you guys could see the floor, like all the trays are opened up.
And ain't nobody got
dry,
time for that.
Yeah, it's wild.
Like, my stuff ain't getting dry.
The elements is a whole nother challenge up here, man.
Yeah, it really, to test your gear, test yourself.
There's times when you're like, seriously, just stop raining.
Oh, you mean like this whole time I've been up here?
Yeah, like it definitely gets that way. And we fish in it for a lot of the time. I mean,
it makes it so good though.
Yeah.
They need it.
Well,
Yeah.
I think
they need that water.
As long as you're prepared for it and have the right gear on. You guys had me
That's
wadered
key.
up. That's new to me. So waders over, a base layer to keep me warm. These prototype Big Bass Dreams joggers, and then the waders, and then a nice, solid rain jacket made a huge difference. So staying warm, keeping that core nice and warm. The only time I really felt cold was when I sat down and didn't do anything.
Yeah.
dude, there's times that during winter steelhead stretches where you're fishing like, 20 degrees for like just long stretches every morning. You're just like freezing. Sometimes it gets even colder. I can't imagine those guys in the Midwest that are fishing for steelhead like negative
They're going
temperatures.
out bundled up like they're.
Oh, my
honey.
boys,
Yeah.
the Big Bass Dreams Canada boys, they're literally going out wading through and breaking ice, breaking like a driveway section so they can cast to it. It's crazy.
That's
like,
just insane.
But dude, they whack them.
Where are they at in Canada?
It's obviously worth
Toronto.
it. Yeah, northern Great Lakes.
And you're alluding to the fact that those fish originated.
Yeah, those are all
Here.
Skamania strain steelhead that come from the Washougal River.
Yeah, they come from one of our local
45
rivers.
minutes south of here.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
And same with the Chinook. They're
Same with
truly
the salmon.
stocked from the Kalama.
Look at you.
Why don't they bring springers from the Kalama over there?
I don't know why they never did that, because they did the same thing in South America, but they took Cowlitz, which is another river down the road. They took Cowlitz and Kalama spring Chinook and took them to South America. So now you get down there it's November, December, January, February, which is our
It's
winter,
flipped.
but it's their
The
summer.
southern- yeah,
so it's
correct.
their May, June, July, August fish that come up. And then they also get a fall run, which comes from here. So
You're like a recreational biologist, man. I like
only
it.
on some things, you know.
Only on the things he's passionate
Exactly.
about.
You gotta know everything about the things you like.
We were just talking about that, dude. How much the science plays into what you do.
It's huge. It's huge. If you,
Yeah.
And I learned that from those same books. Fly fishing, trout fishing, a lot of that salmon steelhead, terms like matching the hatch and understanding the forage that these fish are feeding on and keying in on is really such an important aspect of piecing the puzzle for all predatory fish.
Yeah.
And I learned that initially from the trout salmon world.
Yeah.
So that's why this is cool for me, man.
No, I can only imagine in the bass fisheries when you could really set yourself apart by learning that stuff well.
And I think now
so much more pressure.
That's the thing, and there's a whole generation that has kind of gone through and not seen the value in understanding that, and now it shows in their fishing.
You mean instant gratification? That's not a thing nowadays.
Well, that's what I was thinking about this the other day. Like basically every year we're getting fish that have just never seen gear. They're just hatcheries that are, smolt that are just now returning. They've never seen anything we're doing.
That's what's unique about your fishery is because it's not really
that's constantly it.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. If you catch it, no, that's 100%. It has nothing to do with, I mean, I'm thinking like steelhead, like bead colors and stuff. But
Steelhead come back, though.
Steelhead.
They can learn because they can come back multiple years.
I don't know. I wouldn't give them that much credit.
No.
After that, it's kind of a span in between. But it's not a bass, I guess, is what I'm thinking.
Yeah. Because you were talking about how bass they learn year after year after.
Highly pressured conditions, and that exists throughout the country. But also, you have pockets where they've never seen anything, and you can tell.
Yeah.
And that's how some of these guys got big on YouTube.
Right.
Right. You take a piece of lettuce and you go try and win a tournament with that and see what happens.
Yeah.
It's not the same.
Well, it's like that pond I brought you to here.
Right.
Very low pressure.
Right.
They eat anything.
That's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's all context. I feel like the guys that really elevate what they're looking for from fishing, and that's challenge.
Yeah.
They kind of lean towards like trophy bass fishing or steelhead fishing, because I hear that can be really, really challenging. Or musky fishing, things that really you have to work for. You can't buy your way into that kind of success.
No.
Because they'll expose you. Bad mechanics, bad tackle. If you're just green, they're just going to bust your ass.
Yeah.
Like straight up.
That's just it. We were talking on the trophy aspect, same conversation I'll refer to, like when we were driving around, was about what about that trophy thing, yours was outsmarting it. And it was cool to kind of get both sides of it because it is so different in salmon. You're not necessarily outsmarting that fish. Once you have it dialed, like, luckily our group does, it's not hard to get them to bite. But like to hand-to-hand battle and land a fish over 20 pounds in a steelhead category.
I've lost so many.
It
scares me.
You could be a first-time angler and hook a 20-pound fish, but
your odds of landing.
If I was watching that go down, I'd be like,
good luck.
Like, you have to be extremely savvy and experienced and strong and nimble, to make it happen, because it's such an epic fight. It's it's like landing a tarpon in a river that's 50 feet across, full of structure. Like
I'll show you a video when we get done with this podcast. I landed a 24-pounder and I had to cross 2 sets of rapids. He took me down 2 sets. He ran like literally almost 500, 600 yards downriver before I landed him.
That's crazy.
They're nuts, dude. Big ones are nuts.
Well, that's the perfect lead-in to the first question I like to ask my guests, which is crazy because we're probably like 20 minutes deep into this podcast, and I haven't even got to like my range of questions that I hit my boys with.
Cool.
So the first question really is, I want to know about the fish that busted your ass. The one that got away. Because we just talked about how hard it is to land these fish, right? And when you're targeting the fish of a lifetime, like, you really only get that shot once in your life, right?
Yep.
So
I mean,
Marlin, go first, man. There's got to be one that just stands out to you.
oh yeah.
You wish you could have back.
Yeah. So to start it off right, I actually called in sick to work. So I got some instant karma, I think, when I got down to the river. I called in sick, and I'm going down. The conditions were just like, it was time. I was like, oh my God, it's going to be good today. So I call in sick. I go down there. I literally first cast, I land like a 15-pounder, which for steelhead is like monster. So I'm just like on cloud nine, just freaking like, not even really like, just still on my cloud, right? And I cast, didn't check my leader, didn't do the things that you should do after you land a fish that big, because I was just excited and I wasn't expecting what was going to happen next. And I cast out there and I hooked this fish, and instantly when I hooked it, didn't even move. Like I set the hook and the thing just, whoop, and I went, oh, shit, I got a big one. And so I fought it for probably 15 minutes, just running up and down this run. He didn't want to go down the run, and I could tell he didn't want to, because anytime he'd get down towards the tail out, he would turn and come back up. I think he probably didn't want to travel back up those rapids again or something. I don't know what he was thinking, but for some reason, he just didn't want to move down that tail out. He could have, because some of those fish, this one in particular, you can't stop them. You just can't.
It's more of just a tire out battle.
Yeah, you just have to tire him out. And so I got him in the first time, and I saw him, and I mean, he was like, I don't even know. It's hard to say how big he was, but definitely the biggest, even today, like the biggest I'd ever seen, even to this date. And I got him in the first time, and you're trying to land them by yourself, and you want to take care of these fish. It's not a fish that you're just going to drag up on the bank.
Big fish, it doesn't work either. They're still this far underwater when their body's hitting the bottom.
Yeah.
And they feel it and they take off. And
yeah.
And then it's a 25-pound fish taking off again. It takes 2 kicks.
Yeah. And so I got him in twice, and I remember getting really good looks at him to where I was like, oh my gosh, And I got him in that third time, and I remember it's still in like slow-mo to me. I was like pulling on him. He just did like one head shake to the left, and I watched him break. And it was like slow motion. He like broke, and he did that little thing where he like kind of hung there for a second. And I tried to grab him by the tail with both hands, and he just gone.
So you felt him?
Oh, I touched him and everything. Like he was there. I just didn't get a chance to measure him or put a tape on him, and I just don't count him unless I can know, like all that, or get him in a net, which is now why we use those landing nets.
We use it today.
Yeah.
I'm the biggest fish now.
Yeah. Yeah. You have to big wild coho. So we use that net.
Nice.
Keep it nice and safe, and get the hook out.
One of the only bobber downs of the day.
That's right.
Weird. But anyway, that's it. That's the one. And it still haunts me to this day. Like, I still think about it all the time. That's weird to say, but I literally do. Like, that's why I can remember the story just so vividly. Because I've replayed it so many times, too. And I always think to myself, like, dude, change your leader when you catch a fish that big.
So there's a learning experience there, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. You can't, if you get a fish that big, you fight him, you have to just switch your leader out on those fish. They're just too big. They're, you're fighting them in rocks, and you just got to, I made that mistake, and it cost me.
It will, every time. Mm-hmm. Right? The numbers don't lie. And one of the things that I really try to emphasize with the people that fish with me is, you have to control the factors that are within our control. Your leader was one of those factors.
Exactly.
My hooks.
Your hooks today. Or some of those factors, Jordan. But lay it on us, man.
Only one in particular really stands out, and it was probably 2 winters ago. I went and fished the river. It was like blown out. I wouldn't take in clients, but I knew it would fish. Like there'd be some fish, but the rapids would just be too big, and it would just been a dangerous trip. I didn't have a trip that day anyways. And so I jet down to the river, started it like right in the afternoon, and I go straight to this one hole. And you have to wade out, and on this day it was like probably belly button deep. You had to like wade out to this big rock and stand on the rock so that you could make the cast. And I cast out, first cast, and my foot goes down right where it's supposed to, and I stick it, and it just doesn't move, just like Marlin said, and it starts going upriver.
That's how you know they're big.
Okay.
When they fight upriver.
This is like, it's damn near rapid. I mean, the water's cruising. You can't really hold on to a big fish that well anyways. And this fish goes straight upriver and then turns around, and all I see is his tail slap out of the water like Moby Dick. And then he just takes off down. And I'm like, and it's already probably a 100-foot cast, if not further, to get out there. And so I'm like high sticking, and I hook this fish, and all this ensues. And he takes off down, and I instantly look down, and I'm already at my backing, and he's just, and I'm like, gotta go. And I jump off the rock, and there's actually somebody standing there recording. And I take off running down river. It's like over my waist deep. And I'm like trying to make it to the bank to not fall in the river. And I fight him like probably a quarter or a half mile, probably downriver through the rapids, all the way around the bank, crawling over logs, the whole time never even touching my reel. It was just constantly taking line. And I'm trying to reel him back. You get all the way down around to the very next hole, which is like probably a 5-minute float if you're just in the raft floating down. I get all the way down to the next hole, and it just breaks off.
Oh.
And, yeah, that was it. It's about a 10-minute fight, but
The worst too when you don't see him.
I just never stood a chance. Like,
Yeah.
It was just insane how I never once had control of that fish.
It's humbling, isn't it, what these fish can do to us?
Yeah, it was.
I'm sorry to bring up bad memories.
Yeah, it's all good.
Well, the thing is too is honestly too, you could probably and us anglers, we're always fishing like with steelhead gear. So you're using, especially when you're float fishing, a lot of this stuff isn't heavy. You're not like equipped to hook a 30-pound steelhead or even a 20-pound steel. You're not really equipped to fight him on the rods that you're using for steelhead because it's a sensitive fishing. You can't go out there with like a meat stick. It just doesn't work.
Right.
And so it'd be interesting to try to go out there and like do it with like that, like literally just chase them with the right gear, because you could land
have
them.
to come back with a couple different options.
Yeah.
And see what we can figure out.
The problem with that though is then trying to hook them,
Totally.
because you fish like
You need the light line just to get them to bite.
Yeah.
Line shy.
they're line shy.
Ish, but like, it's more presentation. I couldn't go out there
Okay.
with a 25-pound leader. It would never work.
So what main line are you guys fishing?
30 usually.
30-pound braid
Okay.
to a 20-pound fluorocarbon to a 12-pound leader.
Wow, that's fairly heavy.
I mean,
Yeah.
they can take them, but once you see, I can't even.
But I'm just saying.
I
Like,
really wonder what if you tied a rope to a steelhead with a scale. How many pounds of pressure they actually put when they take off like that?
I don't know.
see, I think the problem you
You
might
could-
face at that point is if you scale up your line size, which isn't hard to do.
Mm-mm.
Now you got to account for all the other components between your line and the hook,
Mm-hmm.
split rings, swivels,
Yeah.
etc., because all that has to be beefed up as well.
Exactly.
Because the weakest link in your chain
Yep.
it's gonna get.
Yeah.
So that sounds like a fun experiment. An excuse for me to get back up here.
Yeah.
You-
Dude, steelhead are insane. You would love them.
Yeah, word on the street was you were trying to get us to cut the trip short today so we can squeeze some.
I was. Because I got word that it was like fire up there. So I was like, we better get up there.
That's wild. Well, Marlin, what else are you into besides fishing? Like, what are you passionate about? What do you love?
I mean, my family is huge to me. I have a wife and a daughter. That's a major part of my life in general is them. I kind of work my whole life around them, fishing included.
Okay. Hunting?
Hunting is another huge passion of mine. I actually sacrificed some hunting to hang out with you this weekend, which I wouldn't do for very many people, so feel blessed. It's right in the middle of deer season, right as we speak right now.
I mean, if you really just needed a reason to get out of the rain, man, it's cool.
Yeah, hunting's another big thing. Usually that's like I kind of look at it as like a vacation, honestly, from fishing.
Okay.
Like there's about 2 months in there that I'm like, I go hunting a lot.
Wow.
A lot of deer hunting, a lot of elk hunting.
Right.
Just
Sports?
feel good.
Anything else?
I love basketball.
Okay.
I love to watch it. I DVR all the games. I've been following it since I was a little tiny kid. Back to when my dad was a Blazer fan and I became a Laker fan just to annoy him. And I've been a Laker fan ever since.
That's cool, man.
Yeah,
That's cool.
that was when I was
Jordan,
like 5 or 6.
how about you, man? You got any other passions besides the fishing?
Women.
My man, that's what's up. Well, here's
No, I really like rock hounding. I do that quite a bit.
okay.
It's like finding geodes and different stuff like that. We're lucky enough to
Yeah.
have in Oregon.
He's giving me some cool ones.
That's dope.
Definitely hunting. I don't vocalize it quite as much because it's the same kind of thing like Marlin said. It's that kind of peaceful retreat
Yeah.
where nobody knows where I'm at for a while. And, you know, fishing, I don't have, again, I have my immediate family and but I don't have any kids, don't have a whole lot of ties. I got my dogs and my raft and my jet boat and a lot of janky fishing stuff. And
You go out and catch fish.
That's what's up.
no, I like to, I'm passionate about traveling. I want to go and see stuff and do something that literally nobody's ever done before, and it's kind of hard to find in this world.
Still
I'm
out there,
gonna
man.
set out to get it,
Especially with your audiences and even my audience. I'm trying to expose them to experiences that I didn't even know about.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, some of the stuff you're putting out, it's instantly, I'm like, Jordan, we're going to do this. Put it on your list.
Yeah.
Like,
I definitely have a passion for teaching. This addicted stuff has changed my perspective over the last few years, especially on what it's actually all about.
Yeah.
Teaching and everything, and showing people how to take care of the great outdoors and Mother Nature, as well as enjoying themselves and living a good life.
I think we're all in a similar space there because we're all about that same generation.
Yeah.
We've been in this game for quite a while now. And if you asked what was important to a young 20-ish Oliver, you'd probably get totally different answers than you'd get from me now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And now I realize it's more fulfilling to help other people live those moments than it is for me to do it because I've already done it
Yeah.
in most cases. And it's just something really special about watching anybody, whether they're young, old, male, female,
Yeah.
city kid, country kid, doesn't matter.
non-binary.
Yeah, non-binary.
One thing that I've definitely taken, it's been a conglomerate between Marlin and Cameron and a lot of people involved, but just like the opportunity we have here to actually help our fishing, because our fisheries here are extremely sensitive to any kind of manipulation. There's a lot of land battles, and there's a lot of real estate and a lot of wealth and things of worth in this area and land, and so we're losing a lot of our fisheries. A lot of the stuff that you got to go do, that's rare. That's super rare. That's why we took you to do it, because so many people's jaws are going to hit the floor and be like, wow, you catch fish like that? It takes a lot of work, and it used to never be like that. A lot of our fisheries have been taken away, and it's because of lack of information. And it's been the lack of what Marlon said he was strived for as a kid, of like people doing the kind of stuff that we like to do and encouraging it and encouraging the sport instead of making it a big secret and letting it all die away for private interest.
Exactly.
And it's died away because of private interest. And even the place where we fished, that place was only so good because commercial fisheries fish on it. And guess what? Guess who makes a lot of money on those commercial fisheries? And they need to make sure they sell those licenses. And so they make sure there's fish there. And if we don't have that in our local streams, but jumping back to the passion of like teaching people is because, getting that opportunity to let that next generation know, if they just turn their eyes away from it, they'll lose it all. Just like what happened to the generation before us, because they got the heydays. And now we're stuck in this rut over the last, 6 or 7 years where it's been some of the worst fishing in history. And it's the cycles of everything, but a lot of it is poor management. So to be able to share that with...
Not just poor management, it's just bad narrative as well being pushed. You have a lot of outside groups, coming in and pushing just these horrible narratives towards fishing and hatcheries.
It is. They don't even want there to be fishing. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
My fear is that here in the Northwest one day you'll have to go buy a license just to go look at them, which you throw that into some settings in the United States, people would be happy to do it. They don't understand the way it can be and the way it should be as a sport. You know what I mean? Like, those fish aren't there unless we put them there in a lot of cases. In places that they are special places and should be protected. But being able to influence that younger generation, before when I started, it was like I'm sure as any young guy is trying to impress the generation above him.
Right.
Trying to be better than the
Trying to
old
validate
dudes.
ourselves.
Exactly. Trying to like get credit from these people that you think you need credit from. And then I've had these interactions with these young kids on trips over the last few years that are just major Addicts fans, and they're just mirroring every move that we make. Like, I spit in the water, he spits in the water, and I say that's a nice rock, and he says, oh, that's a nice rock. Like, they just... I never realized how much we had in the palm of our hand as far as teaching the right kind of people, not just some guy that wants to fish on the weekends.
Yeah.
You know?
Marlon and I have had a couple conversations over the last several days about things we like that we see, things that we don't. And I think it's really important that if you really feel strongly about something, you should act on it.
Mm-hmm.
And be about it. Don't just talk about it.
Yeah.
No matter what it is. So, but I was really trying to build you guys up about your passions and what makes fishing different than the rest of those things you guys listed.
Jordan?
There's something special about fishing.
You know,
You could sum it up in one kind of statement.
For me, it's just the learning aspect of it. For me, I feel like fishing has always taught me to keep trying to excel and learn more and more and more and more, and it transfers into everything else I do in life, because I've always just been so passionate about learning fishing. Anytime I pick anything else up, take YouTube for example, I become just this weird freak where I'm just so passionate about it. I'm trying to learn every little tiny aspect that there is about that,
Yeah, you can geek out deep.
Yeah, and so that's what fishing, I think, is. Fishing's taught me that, because to really be a good angler, you have to do that.
Yeah.
You have to nerd out on every little tiny aspect of it, You were telling me stuff about bass last night, and I was just blown away, because I had never even thought of bass that way. And I had been a really big bass fan, bass fish my whole life, but I had never been as passionate about it as I am steelhead and salmon, to where I've nerded out like that,
Yeah, man, it's crazy. The learning never stops with any fishing.
Never.
Yeah.
And then what happens? You just start chasing all these other ones, right? And you want to learn all this stuff about all these other ones.
Yeah, I just need to learn how not to suck with a bobber and egg. Good grief, man. I went 0 for 12 on my first opportunities.
Yeah.
But I got one.
You got one. So for me, it's the learning aspect of it. I think that's why it's kept me so passionate about it.
I can concur.
Mine's kind of along the same lines, but a little different as usual. But it's probably just that everlasting change and that, ability to kind of revel in the moment and take a step back and pace as far as comparing you as your human race to the natural world around you. Going out on the river and enjoying the level of the water and the color of the sky and the trees and the time of year and everything else. There's just these subtle little things that when you get to spend every day out there, you start to realize how simple the world actually really around you is working. And we get stuck in a rat race just because the times we live in. But there's a lot of shit going around,
No, you're
a lot of stuff going on around that is really kind of cool to get to tap into. And that's probably my biggest, passion about it is just that everlasting change through the seasons and the river levels and the fish and just getting to watch it all,
Dope. Super dope. Well, you guys touched a little bit on coming up in this game and impressing the generation before us, right? And earning their respect, I feel, is what it's really about. Because I don't see enough of that going on currently. These younger kids coming up below us, some of them don't have any respect, man. It's wild. It's wild.
Yeah.
I don't know where you guys grew up, man, but respect is a really basic, fundamental concept, and just don't throw around any disrespect. But with that being said, who is it that you guys really yearn to earn respect from? Did you guys have anybody that kind of molded you or influenced you when you were young and coming up to be the person or angler really specifically that you are now?
I don't think I can speak to anyone in particular. I think I was always just chasing my own goals. I was always just chasing my own, I don't know. I can't really speak to anyone that I was really just trying to impress. But I did go through that phase. I went through that phase where you're posting every single steelhead that you catch and every single salmon. You're posting it and trying to get people to recognize, yeah, you know how to fish.
Yeah.
But I don't even really know why I did that. I look back on that and I'm kind of now, you guys saw, How many pictures of fish did I take myself holding yesterday?
All of them.
Not one. Not one.
Get over here, Sean.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's just not about that for me anymore.
I feel like it's just the natural character arc of a person.
Yeah.
Like, we've been there, so we can see it stepping out, taking a step back and looking at a younger version of ourselves. Like, oh, I remember what that's like.
Yeah.
You just don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're probably right. That's exactly what it was, really.
Yeah, you gotta thump your chest a little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
"Oh,
And we're in an industry where we need to. We need to share it. We have to share our content. We got to take dope pictures,
there's
right?
Definitely a fine line, because there's almost, now that there's no filters on who can put content out to the public, right? It used to be TV, magazine, print, and that was it.
Pretty
There were
much.
editors. There's a whole bevy of filters. Like, well, who are you to where you should get this platform? Now it don't matter.
Yep. Now you create
So
your own.
you have the opposite effect. Now it's flooded with all this information, and it's like, bro, what does your body of work look like? You're talking about this thing, but I've never seen you post a picture of a fish.
Yep.
Whatever. So there's a fine balance, right? Because that is necessary, but you can do it in a humble way. You can do it with some tact and some class. I feel like that's missing more and more.
Yeah. Oh, I 100% agree.
Yeah, man. But maybe those are those values that were instilled on us from the older generation that the next generation doesn't see value in.
Well, and even the generation before us, because that's where we get most of our hate from, is the generation that's before us that is pissed that we're like, we've done what we've done, right? Like, why these punk kids make all these videos? Why these punk kids posting all these pictures? Why you guys have ruined fisheries? You guys have ruined rivers? You guys have ruined lakes, right? And I look at that and I just think to myself, like, well, dude, how do you learn? Like, how do you be like, I grew up like fiending for fishing entertainment.
Same.
Like, to the point where I watched fly fishing stuff because there was nothing else to watch.
Same.
And it's like, I don't want kids to grow up like that. Like,
Shout
I want
out
them to
our fly fishermen, though. No disrespect.
That came out of his mouth.
What's
not
up,
mine.
April? How you doing, homie? But yeah, man, I'm with you. It's crazy that the ever-changing dynamic. But that, just because someone's older doesn't make them mature,
Yeah.
right? You hope that along that process of them not croaking, that they've been able to mature on a personal level. And unfortunately, not everybody does. And
Yeah.
they still have that like really selfish mindset. Oh, I've been fishing this spot my whole life. Why should I share it with anybody?
First thing I said is, I'm sorry.
But-
Stuck in this shithole your whole life.
Well, even at
There's
home,
the highway
man,
right there.
people are complaining that more people are getting interested in fishing because they're seeing a little bit more pressure on their bodies of water. Like, to me, that's nothing new.
It's
Right?
same stuff, dude. I hear
I'm
that.
sorry. Like,
Yep.
if you're finding it's harder to catch fish, become a better fisherman.
Same, dude. It's the same. The exact same thing around here. Is that it's that same narrative. Like, these guys get so frustrated that there's all these people on the river, and it's like, you guys, you don't understand. There's all these people on the river because we're getting hammered by these freaking wild fish groups. They're taking all of our fish away. It puts all the anglers in one spot, and we don't have enough anglers. We don't have enough sportsmen that can
There's
fight back.
nowhere near the same amount of anglers as there was 50 years ago.
And you can look at the license sales in Washington,
Not
Oregon.
even close. It used to be.
It's like this.
It used to be a culture thing.
What happens when it gets to the bottom, dude?
We
Because
start- we start
our
paying-
fisheries are dependent, Oliver, on people fishing.
Participation.
If there is no participation, the state then does not care. They will find something else to monetize. And
Absolutely.
all you people out there listening, they are monetizing us as anglers. And if you don't go buy licenses and fish and go fish, we won't have fishing. Period.
Yeah, people really need to be able to step and look at the whole picture beyond their own personal interest.
Exactly.
Because all this stuff, like this studio, all the man caves that I've been to, like, they're going to be all for naught. if people don't just actually like pull their
Yeah.
heads out of their asses and be
Yeah.
like, dude, fishing is under attack.
Yeah, we need to unite as anglers and work together. And, you know, that's the narrative we try to push, and we're going to keep pushing it as best we can.
Okay.
And we'll see what we can do. Hopefully we can keep affecting change. We're working hard on this side of the country, that's for sure.
Oh, man. Well, we were talking about our younger selves. If you had the opportunity to speak to young Marlin Lefever 10, 15 years ago, and you give him one piece of advice, what would it be? Fishing.
Spend less money. Straight
You
up.
want to elaborate on that?
I mean, there's just, I can look over the years and I just wasted a lot of money. As I've gotten older, you know, I've realized, like, dude, why did I buy that? Like, why did I do that? You know, perfect story, right? My mom, she passed away at, you know, when I was around 18 years old, right? And I got a little substantial amount of money. And I don't have not one thing to show for that. I mean, I can remember buying stacks of lotto tickets and just going to parties and just like, yeah, look at me, I got all this freaking money. And it's like, what was I thinking back then? Like, what was I thinking? You know, and I think now I've learned that, like, you need to save money to, like, get ahead in life. You got to have money to make money.
True.
And I've learned that big time over the years, and it's been a hard thing to learn because I like to spend money.
That's solid. I
Yeah.
think we all do. It's fun.
Yeah.
Jordan?
I would have probably bought a house in 2010 or 11 when everything was super cheap. That's all you Californians are moving to Oregon and Washington. No, I'm pretty happy right now. Things are going all right.
Cool, man.
I wouldn't change a damn thing.
I like that too. All those experiences led to who's sitting on these couches today, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
didn't force it, that's for sure. It's all pretty, just kind of falling into place.
That's
Like
legit.
like it should be.
Okay, let's go back to that conversation we had regarding like platforms, content, and media. What it's like now and what it was like when we were coming up. Do you guys prefer the way content and information is delivered via the social media age or before?
I absolutely prefer it, 100%. Because if it
Now.
wasn't, because if it wasn't for, well, you talking about social media like before or social
No, I'm
media?
just-
Social media in general.
No, I'm talking about the way that information is delivered and digested post social media.
About fishing.
Yes, in this fishing space specifically. So with the, you know, we can go back to MySpace, but I feel like Facebook is one of the first platforms on a really widespread level where fishing actually took a foothold.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got Instagram, Twitter to a degree. I never really saw much, but YouTube now. Did you guys like it before all that stuff came into effect? When it was only TV, magazine, other print, or now?
I mean, social media allowed me to take my skills that I've learned in everyday life and build a fishing brand that I could influence people with. Without social media, Addicted wouldn't be even close to what it is today. Not even close. Now, we were trying. I mean, I had a website, I had a blog, I was doing fishing seminars, I was doing all sorts of random stuff to try to grind it. But once I could take what I learned from marketing and put that into social media, we exploded. And we've just continued to explode because of that, because I do marketing. That's what I do. And so I've been able to transfer that over into everything Addicted, and it's allowed us to grow where we're at. And I kind of look at that and I go, you're nothing without your platforms. You're just not. Because if you ever want to get somewhere, you have to have that. You have to, if you think about it and you go back and you look at your goals and what you want to accomplish and what you want to do, none of it's possible unless you can monetize what you've done. Because how are you going to do it without money?
True.
You ain't gonna go fly and go catch Murray cod if who's paying for it.
You mean I can't just pay with my dreams?
Yeah, exactly. And so it's like
two dreams, sir.
It's a double-edged sword for me because I hate social media in a lot of aspects. I don't use it for anything personal.
Elaborate on that.
I don't really use it for much personal. I don't post anything very much during my life. If you see me posting on social media, it's because I'm posting something for Addicted. I keep most of my life and just out of social media because I just think it's, even I look at my daughter and she'll just sit there and just literally just for like hours. For hours, dude. And she'll get on YouTube and she'll watch like the most ridiculous stuff that I'm like, what are you watching? You just literally watched this guy change the color of slime for an hour. And I don't understand it, I don't understand it. But again, there's a lot of people that don't understand fishing content either, right?
I was going to say, she's probably thinking the same thing when you're watching.
She is.
Someone spent an hour changing the color of their salmon eggs.
Exactly. She is 100%. So I think social media is cool. I think that it's
in the grand scheme.
In the grand scheme of things,
positives and negatives.
I think that there's a lot more positives than there's negatives.
That.
I think about all the kids that, like, when I grew up in high school when there wasn't much social media around, there was kids that had literally no friends. Literally no one to talk to, literally no one. Social media changed that. It made it so if you were a freaking nerd, guess what? If you were the biggest loser, ugliest person in the world, you could go find other people that wanted to hang out with you and be friends and be buddies, and it allowed people to connect.
Bro, I told you that story in confidence, man.
It did. I think it really did, and I saw it happen to a lot of people, but there is a lot of negative stuff to it as well.
Yeah.
But I think the positives to it has been really, really cool.
On that same page. Jordan, how do you feel about it?
I'm kind of neither here nor there. I haven't seen enough of an impact. A lot of people I personally know that I talk to annually that have a problem with it are just sour dudes who'd be pissed off anyways. Like just the anglers that don't want you to fish anywhere near their hole, yet they stand 20 feet from a hatchery. And, like they're just those kind of people who are going to be miserable no matter what.
Yep.
I like that I can encourage, and I have the ability to encourage people that there's better ways to spend their life. And whether it's substance or some kind of activity or, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
There's a better way to just enjoy yourself. And it's, in the outdoors, doing something worth, what to me is worthwhile. Everybody has their own opinion. But I like the fact that people are encouraged to go out and more, and again, I'm going to kind of jump back to a little greener side of things, but just like more just to protect it because, these rivers, the woods, Mother Nature in general is just constantly hammered on in all walks of sport, whether it be hunting or fishing. And being able to spread that knowledge, if there's something bad going on, being able to let millions of people know about it instantly, and be able to protect the resource a little bit more than just the old school way where, all the dudes are keeping whatever they want to on the bank and you got Jim Bob and his boy Lefty down there snagging natives in the back, yanking them across the deck. Like that kind of stuff has kind of policed itself, and it's grown its way out because people are informed, and people know what fishing, like the snagging thing out here. It's big in the Midwest too. You can't even drift fish anymore because of addicts. I swear to God.
Because people are like, "You're snagger."
Snagging. But like
man.
it's spread that fast in the benefit of the fishing.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
And
we've yelling on our salmon video. Like we're accidentally snagging some salmon occasionally. And it's like, it turns into like, oh, every one of them you guys caught were snagged. And I'm like, what? Are you guys watching the same video? Like, the bait is in its mouth. But
this being able to spread the positivity and the good knowledge through the community, and then get people out doing things that might and definitely help them. I mean, I don't have a ton of issues or anything like that, but man,
that's why,
quality of life is a lot better when I'm out enjoying myself.
That's why the education is so important to me, because it just I want to influence a new generation of kids to be excited to go out and catch fish, and if they don't know how to do it, if they can't learn it, they're just not going to do it.
Yeah, man.
It's very easy to get discouraged.
And unfortunately, I run into this even amongst my own circle sometimes, and I got to check my boys. The same way I got to check myself once in a while. Is you assume that everybody should know the things that you know. They forget, like, where we all started, which is not knowing crap.
Exactly.
And you really just got to give people the opportunity to learn and to fail and to make mistakes. And if they're holding a spinning rod upside down, like, don't point and laugh at them and ridicule them right away. Become their friend. Be cool about it first, and then you can bust their balls.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, there's a process here,
Yep.
right? And it comes down to respect. If you were trying to pick up something new and you look like a goofball doing it, but you had no idea, and someone came up and going, "Ah, look at you, you're an idiot." Like, how would you respond?
Yeah, oh yeah.
I know how I would respond.
Marlin would throw something at me.
I might try to fight him.
So, yeah, the nice thing about social media for me, or this age, okay, so I have a couple problems with it, and I have a couple really, really, I mean, what's the term I want to use? There are a couple things about it that I absolutely love. The number one thing that I absolutely love about it is it's allowed me to connect with people at the very top tier of different parts of my life. Like true professionals, you know, some of the best fishermen in the world. But overall, just rad people. I mean, from sitting on the couch here with you guys to like celebrity athletes. Like I'm taking a lead singer of a pretty famous band out fishing, like on Sunday, like all the way down to the people that just walk up to me on the boat ramp and introduce themselves and take time out of their day.
Love that.
And it's like, hey man, good to meet you too. Like, it's really, really cool. And it's funny because I've met thousands of people with nothing but positive vibes.
Yep.
Not one time has anybody tried to come at me, like, remotely twisted.
One time for me.
Not one. Oh, yeah? Really?
Yeah, some dudes in Alaska they really wanted to throw down.
Yeah. Alaska.
This is the best story ever, too.
Yeah, Jordan got me out of there, dude. If Jordan wouldn't have, like, dude, I was ready. I was, like, full on, like,
He, like, totally lays into him across the bar and just shuts him up.
Oh, there's alcohol
all three of
involved.
them were like, no, this was, like, midday. We're waiting for the morning plane. And he, like, starts chewing him out, and they're all like, ooh, jeez, man.
literally.
Yeah, and they shut up, and it got deathly quiet in the restaurant. And I go, you want to go? And he goes, let's go. It's like crickets,
Washington,
dude.
son?
Yeah, just shut him up.
That's the only time, though. For the most part, it's been really pleasant. And, you know, we got our haters just like everyone freaking does, right?
Oh, man.
They're
I don't
never...
care who you are. Someone's going to hate on you.
Yeah. I love it.
I don't
I
care.
fiend for it. Give me more of them.
You should see me with the hoop, man. Like, that's where that came from. But yeah, just, you know, if you want someone to treat you with respect, just give respect, and just be cool. Like, fishing is a stupid reason to beef.
Exactly.
I grew up in
God, I've always thought that.
rough neighborhood, man, and people died for the dumbest of reasons. And the only thing I can think of a dumber reason to die is over fishing beef.
Not even just die, just the fact that some of these dudes literally spend their lives like just trying to like, I don't even know, dude. I just don't get it. Like,
maybe they'll jump on addicted fishing, learn how to catch a fish, and they'll be happier.
yeah, maybe.
Right? The endorphins released. It's like, oh man, I'm a whole new person.
Yeah.
But one can only hope. Up to this point, what are you the most proud of in your fishing related career?
Man. I think the community that we've built. I think the group of people that we've built around Addicted, not only like the ones that are so close to it, but the whole group of people you got to experience at our bash, right? Like,
It's super cool to see.
yeah, so like I feel like this community is, just give you one example, right? My buddy Nick Popoff, who, you know, there's a lot of people that know him, a lot of people that don't, right? His son got this really, really bad disease. He had this GoFundMe account going. And, you know, it had a couple $100s in it or whatever. I posted it in Addicted overnight, $20,000 in donations.
Wow.
And so the community came out and supported another fellow angler that had problems with his son, you know. And I feel like just building a community like that I'm super, super proud of it. You know, I think that's the best thing that we've done with Addicted.
That's dope, homie. Jordan?
I'm all caught up in that now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably just, I don't know. There's a lot of things.
That's good.
You know, right now it's mid coho season. Been working a lot. Everything around here is super hot and heavy and fast paced. So it's hard to like, I'm in such work mode that it's hard to sit back and like be proud of a lot of things because it's happening right now. You know what I mean?
We're in the process of it.
Yeah, like what we're doing right now is what I'll be proud of when we're there. You know.
Okay, well, that leads me perfectly into the next question. At the end of the day, man, what do you want your legacy to be?
Stone Cold Killer. You know.
I think Jordan said it perfect. You know, Mustad asked us that same question. Mustad came out and did a little short film, and they asked us what they want our legacy to be. And, you know, we want to know that we left something. You know, that we left something people could care about, people could be passionate about, people could learn from, and continue to build on.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I want to be known for. I want Addicted to be looked at as the people that, like I told you the other day, like if someone wants to learn how to go fishing, I want them to think of Addicted Fishing. You know, if someone wants to see the most badass fishing content on the planet, aside from maybe big bass streams, they're going to go to Addicted Fishing. You know, I want to be, I just want to be able to leave something that people can really care about. Yeah. And, you know, you said it great in the Mustad thing.
No, that's just it. Leaving something behind that gives people encouragement to go out and work hard to do it and have fun. Because we go pretty above and beyond just to get to enjoy our experience. And I don't feel like, and this isn't a woe is me thing, but I don't feel like the generation before us did a whole lot to leave good fishing. They wanted it to be a big secret, and you don't tell anybody what or how you do it. And guess what? Because of that big secret, nobody knew about it, and it got taken away because it didn't have any support. And that's what I hope we kind of leave that legacy of helping and kind of saving fishing out here from a community standpoint. Because before, all the way up until this time, all the fishermen sat in a little man cave just like this with their Coors Light. And every time their fishery got attacked or their livelihood got attacked, they sat in the garage and went, "That's not true," and watched it all dwindle away.
Yeah.
You know, and having that community to actually fight for the right to go and enjoy yourself out there is, I think, what is going to, you know, be my favorite part of the legacy.
That's awesome, man. I'm glad we're friends.
Yeah.
I am too, dude.
I appreciate
Thanks,
guys.
Weston.
Yeah, big shout out to Weston Yancey, our mans. Made the intro here 3 years ago when I came up and busted the lower unit off my boat at the time.
Oh, yeah.
Stranded. And it's, you know, yeah, trolling with Cameron for.
Dude, you tried grinding fishing then too. We trolled around, freaking. What did we hook? One fish.
Bro, I hooked a little jack at buoy 10. I didn't even know it was on. It was so small.
Just one of those horrible salmon run years.
It was brutal.
Oh, those years were some of the worst.
Were they?
Mm-hmm.
Oh man. Mm-hmm.
Oh, it just makes me sick. I'm glad to see him starting to bounce back a little bit.
So am I.
Yeah.
It's been fun.
Yeah, we made it happen, dude.
It's been a fun few
I
days.
appreciate you coming out here.
Yeah, I had to stick around at least one more extra day just to get another look at it.
That was worth it. It didn't even
Yeah.
feel that hard.
Nah, I really didn't. I kind of become acclimated to the weather, the wetness, just the adventure of it all. It's been a lot of fun.
Start jonesing for that bite again.
Well, man, we spent a bit of time here just talking about fishing culture here regionally, the overall landscape. Marlin, I want to dive a little bit deeper in with you, man, because I know we've got quite a few similar passions.
Yeah.
Fishing, obviously. Bass fishing in your case, even. Basketball. You're a big hoop fan. But, man, you listen to a lot of the same music that I do.
Yep. Yep.
What
Hip
genre
hop.
is that? Hip hop.
Yep. I love hip hop and rap music.
Really? And dude, tell me more about that, because we utilize it as part of our Big Bass Dreams culture a lot, because I'm a fan of the hip hop genre, and to me it's even more like a art form, in that I feel like it's a way that modern day poets have to express themselves.
Yeah.
And storytell. And they inspire
Some
me
of my favorite parts about it.
to tell a better story.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys are lyrical geniuses.
100%.
And I see a parallel with what people would consider like conscious rap, or just thought-provoking hip-hop, versus like Sean's favorite, the mumble rap.
Sean, you into mumble rap, dude?
All of a sudden. And just what some people that might not know about this incredibly wonderful culture that is hip-hop.
And there's still a lot of new hip-hop artists coming
Man.
out right now that are trying to revive and save lyricism and keep lyricism alive and make sure that these mumble rappers know.
Well, tell me the difference, and tell the audience the difference, because if someone that might not be used to seeing fishing content with hip-hop influence, sometimes we get a lot of backlash, man. Like, oh, what is this? This doesn't belong in fishing. Like,
Why aren't you on your tractor riding down the gravel road? For me, like, just like you said, like, I love the storytelling aspect of it, and I love the lyricism of it. I love listening to a hip-hop artist take words and put them all together into a story. I just think it's so dope and so hard. Like, I've tried to do a lot of it myself back in the day. I showed you some of my old my ventures into trying to be the white rapper guy. So I had a lot of fun of that. I had a lot of fun doing that when I was just out of high school. A lot of parties at my house.
What was your MC name?
Malfusion.
Yeah.
This is getting deep.
Yeah, Malfusion.
How did you get the name Malfusion?
I don't even know. My buddy named it to me because he said my bars that I spit were fusion. Dude, don't ask me. This is terrible. It's like when you hear like and what's funny is I was showing Oliver in the car like a bunch of this stuff, and I'm just sitting there listening to it going, oh my god, this is trash. Like, it's trash.
What's dope though, man? I was listening to it too, and I could just hear the raw like passion and love that you have for it. You could tell you were having fun. Man.
Yeah, and that's what it was about back then. Really was just having fun, and but there's some freaking. It's just like
you got a pretty loud chuckle from.
I can't handle like a lot of the music today that you're getting out. Like, it's like these repetitive choruses and no substance to the music, and I just can't even.
It's not even catchy, bro.
No.
Like, if you found me at the club, like, I wouldn't want to like listen to that, like.
No.
And I'm not expecting too much when you're at the club.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's a pretty low bar.
Yeah.
It's rather disappointing. Well, what's really popular in the hip hop scene is freestyling.
Oh God.
Right? And a lot of you hip hop heads are probably familiar with the 5 fingers of death. Or we're about to hit you with the 5 stringers of death.
What? I ain't freestyling, bro.
Come on!
You gotta get me.
Malfusion.
You gotta get me writing something. I should.
Fusion is in the house.
Oh my God. I am not freestyling, bro. You can play that music all you want. I ain't hitting the bars. I retired a long time ago.
Come on! You know it's still in you.
I got nothing, bro. I got nothing, bro.
I was really hoping Marlin was going to be the first one to hit the 5 stringers of
The
death.
5 stringers of death.
I got boys that can spit bars, man. Look forward to my boy Dimension, my boy D-Rock. There's a couple other guys that have got some fire. One sitting next to me is being a bitch right now.
I don't got any fire anymore, dude. Once I got over 35,
Damn,
it was no
you're
longer.
over 35?
I turned 35 next month.
Man, you look good. No homo. Hit him.
No.
This is a pretty fire beat, though.
It's DJ Premier, man. Come on.
DJ.
Dude, I got nothing. I'm drawing a blank. I can't freestyle. I told you that.
Well, you don't need to come off the dome.
Yeah, but
Hit him with anything. Hit him with your best verse. I know the one that you sat in your bathroom mirror, bro, spitting bars.
I don't remember any of them.
Oh, come on!
I swear to God, I don't.
Oh, man!
Oh, man.
I'm slightly
I haven't gotten this red and doing a video in a long time.
Yeah, right.
I'm a little bit more disappointed than when that hook came off of Jordan's spinner today on that nice chromer. But anyways, I tried, guys.
Don't be good. Don't, all you people out there watching, don't go search malfusion on the internet.
Too late.
Shouldn't have said that.
Well, boys, I appreciate you guys. Marlin,
Dude, appreciate you having
Jordan,
us on this.
Been a
good
pleasure.
times.
When are we
man.
gonna see this?
I don't know. I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do with this.
Dope.
You know, I'm just kind of back stocking some dope content and trying to do something different than what everybody else is doing, and make it matter.
Yeah.
Leave that legacy, right, in a
Yes,
good
sir.
way.
Dope,
In
dude.
the meantime, where can they find your content, boys?
Addicted Fishing, pretty much anywhere. Biggest place I would go to our YouTube channel, at Addicted Fishing on YouTube. Check it out.
Anything other than that, it's just a bunch of pictures.
Yeah, anything other than that, you ain't going to get the substance. Go to
That's
YouTube.
right.
That's where the dopeness is.
That's where the story is, right?
Yes.
For
Oh, yeah,
sure.
dude.
Well, we appreciate having you.
Yeah,
bro.
thanks for having us,
It was a
man.
good time.
And you're going to come back out here for steelhead.
You're gonna come really freeze your ass off.
I told him we need to get him up into the tribal waters. That's where we need to take him.
Well, I'm gonna bring a couple different toys to try to get him a bite. Hopefully, up that landing ratio.
We should have taken your.
We were talking
your
about
big
stick
yellow
bait.
Swim bait.
We were talking about stick bait and steelhead.
Summers.
I think it can happen.
Be fun.
All right, guys, stay
Killer.
tuned. Appreciate you guys. Thank you for tuning into this Big Bass Dreams podcast episode. Who knows?
Stay fishy,
And-
world.
That's right. Stay fishing. We'll catch you guys on the next one.
See you on the river. Oh, I needed to.
I can't believe you didn't freaking drop bars on it, man.
I didn't get, dude. I wasn't prepared. He even told me to prepare like 2 days ago, and I just didn't have
I'm gonna
time.
hit you with the 5 stringers to death.
I should have just had a verse.
You would Papa Doc on us, man.
He went Papa Doc right on camera.
It's in my jeans, no yo denim. Some people try to rock it, but the clothes don't fit them. Pool full of sharks, tell them don't go swimming. Let them bask in the glory if the flow don't let them drown. Hot spitter, cold like winter. I'm trying to hit the motherland, be gone in November. Bask in the glory if your foes never get you. I've been switching up the temperature, they telling me to simmer down.